Hal here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. So I'm just going to go on to some other stuff that I wanted to talk about. I didn't talk about in the Dirtpo Robbins video. Um, just on the topic of albums of the year, the Dirtpo Robbins album, Queen of the Night soundtrack album, is really the last of the albums that I know. There'll be stuff that I don't know about that I'll be turned on to probably, like Giant Sky and Mask of the Phantasm from last year that I got into like in January. Just stuff I'll see on the end of your list or whatever that might show up. But for the most part, everything that I knew about or I found out about were going to come out this year that I was able to check out, I checked out. And so I'm now finalizing my albums of the year list, which hopefully I'll be able to make sometime in the next few weeks. Could be sooner. Could be next week even. I mean, I'm doing a lot of reviewing and stuff like that. I don't want to spoil anything about it, but I think this was a year. 2022 was a year with a lot of albums from favorite artists of mine and other people. At the same time, a lot of those albums were not necessarily like they didn't necessarily meet or exceed the hype that maybe in some ways I had for them, which is unfair in some ways. But this has happened to me countless times, literally almost every year since like 2007 or 2008, or even 2010. I don't know. But that being said, I think it was a very fun year for music. And there was looking at my year from last year in 2021. I think at least in terms of depth, there's almost twice as many albums that I at least checked out, if not listened to regularly, or at least wanted to be into. So, the list of like 20 to 30 albums was last year. This year could be closer to 40 to 50 anyway. On the topic of lists and everything else, so I've invested not like this extended amount of time, but I had to okay, so last week I ended up coming into having some kind of form of vertigo or something like that. Not severe, but I didn't know what was going on. So I'm actually seeing a doctor tomorrow, but I actually went to urgent care on Saturday and had a bunch of time to kill. So I was just killing because the wait at the urgent care was almost 4 hours. So I've mentioned it a few times. Progressive art rock, and I hope my camera's recording here. No, it's not. Well. Progressive art rock. I'm just going to have to go with the one on the new laptop. Progressive art, 21st century progressive art rock, modern progressive art rock, and it's maybe partly to do with I always wanted to write a book about this, and I'm just kind of feeling Father Time catching up with all these medical problems that I've dealt with. I just want to do it in some fashion rather than just posting a list, which would be fine. I want to actually make like the series of videos I made, and I don't know how many videos it's going to be, but so albums, EPs, and artists. The artist one isn't as time consuming, but I actually think from an interest standpoint, I'm going to maybe do that one last. Probably. I don't know. But it'll probably be 50 to 60. I don't know. At least 50 artists. But I haven't ranked those, and that's the problem with ranking artists. It's really hard for me. But I did rank EPs and albums. Now, the other one is songs, which both is easy and hard. So what I did is I ended up finding a list of all my albums from it's not going to be 21st century, because then that kind of eliminates some of the albums that came out toward the end of the 20th century in the late 90s. So I'll just call it modern progressive art rock. It's just a headache. Not through the vertigo that I'm dealing with. By the way, I had ringing in my ears, and this ear on Sunday, and then just this morning in this ear. So I'm wondering if the vertigo is getting better. But the doctor tomorrow hopefully will have more insights that I talk to. But what happened was I ended up with it was over 300 albums, and there's a website. I should just name it off because it's a website that does rankings, and that's the other thing I will get to. Hopefully I can remember. I'll do another video today because I'm not working today because I went to the doctor for a different issue, not the vertigo. It's called pubmeeple.com, and it's a ranking dash engine. You can rank anything on there, of course. It's not just music. I mean, it's any words. It's just a list, any lists. What you do is they give you lists and you compare things. I mean, people can make their own lists in some ways. So what? Just to explain what exactly happened is when I was at the urgent care on Saturday, I had already started it, but it was a list of like 300 plus albums, and they compare basically all of them. And it gets to be taxing when you have that many. It was over 1,400 comparisons, and I was getting rid of some of the albums because the album list, progressive art, modern progressive art rock albums list, my own personal, and I'm gonna add a couple things about that list in a minute here, but just to know about it. But it's my favorites list, but it's gonna be. I'm not gonna do a list of 300 albums. It's just not worth it. I might publish the rest of the list. What I came up with there. To me, it was just a rough draft, but I want to do 50, and I thought, well, 75 maybe. So, and then an honorable mention. So, it's going to be around 100 probably. And doing that all in one video obviously isn't going to happen. Doing it in making a video with like 50 albums. I'm not sure. My initial thought was doing like 20 a video, something like that. I don't know. It might be the top 75 and then honorable mentions, because it's really splitting hairs. It's really tough, when you're comparing your favorite things to each other. You're leaving off this. You're leaving off a million things. So to add to this list, modern progressive art rock albums list or artists, there's certain artists that just are not going to be in there. I don't want to be on my personal list. It's not part of this specific style, subgenre, hybrid genre. Combined genres of progressive rock, one style progressive rock in the last couple decades. So take off Kevin Gilbert, take off Marillion, take off any progressive metal. No progressive metal at all. Some other artists sort of borderline. The only artist that sort of crosses over to like the traditional like taking your traditional neo-prog and prog rock artists that modern like prog rock fans listen to and talk about regularly, that play at the festivals that are more underground, or I don't know if it's the best way to put it. Spock's Beard and Transatlantic and the Flower Kings and some of the others I don't even like. Your big trains. I'm not like much of a fan of. None of those artists are going to be on this list. Riverside's not going to be on this list. There's a lot of artists that will not be on the list. Cave In, not on the list. And I think we'll consider them metal anyway. I'm going to do a like progressive metal, experimental, or extreme metal list at a later time, soon, hopefully as soon as possible, like maybe in a few months. But, there's certain artists that, people love that they're not for me. Or I like a little bit of their music, but I'm not finding them fascinating like some people. So that's the thing about it. It's my own curated list. And while I'm not considering myself the foremost expert in, I sort of look at myself being one of the biggest fans of this style. There's a few other people a lot of people like specific bands or something like that. I don't know. I don't like to it's not about competition, but I just feel like I want to give my sort of imprint, I want to throw out my favorites among something that I consider one of my favorite things and feel like I'm one of the only people that really acknowledges this. So, I may, by the comparison, and I may be using this software, but to use web browsing with making videos while I'm just on websites rather than having to insert images here and there and, corral all these physical copies. Rate Your Music, I put out a rateyourmusic.com list. It was almost 15 years ago. It was 2008 or 2009 and then updated a few times. Last time I updated was 2010, but that was to do with, I called it obviously college prog or whatever. And it got a fair amount of traffic on it, a bunch of comments, and probably among all the lists. I've made 70, 80 lists on Rate Your Music. I don't do it very often. I do one or two a year, just my end of the year stuff. Maybe the one that got the most. And so, that's kind of it, and so I want to do this because life is short, and, when you see the writing on the wall, when you're dealing with medical problems and the realistic chance of even to publish a book someday, I'll publish the book later, I'm not spoiling it. It doesn't even matter. So, So that's what I'm going to do. And then to go along with that, EPs, because I figured I can include the EPs in there, but then it just gets to be more convoluted and too long a list. So I'm doing a separate list of EPs, which there's a lot of EPs. A lot of the best artists in this modern progressive art rock music released EPs that were really good, or only releases were EPs actually. They're obscure, very obscure underground, almost local-ish bands, but or artists. But so there's like it's over 50 actually. I don't know if I'm gonna show all. It'll be. I'm not sure if it'll be 50, but that one will be a little easier. The thing I thought about was trying to revisit many of them I haven't listened to in a long time, and I own a lot of them as a physical copy. Not all of them, but I don't know if I have the time, if I want to get going on these lists, to actually revisit all of them. And I made the ranking with that same website that to go back to it again. It's called PubMeeple, PUBMEEPLE.com, and then slash ranking dash engine. I made one on that, and that was easy because that's like, as opposed to the 300 plus albums, the 50 or it was like 45 EPs. I forgot some, of course, in there. That one only took me a couple, like it was like 2 hours or less to do all the comparisons. And so yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on. That, and then I've been thinking about some song lists. Of course, I mentioned that with King's X, and Fates Warning on the Dream Theater forums. They finished the Fates Warning song countdown. In fact, given I have the time right now, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go over my list, so I'm going to make another video for that, and I'm going to show a couple of Fates Warning related items. But I can't remember what else. There was something else, tours and stuff like that. I just noticed Riverside is coming to St. Paul in March. I've never seen them. I'm not a massive fan or anything. I like the ADHD album somewhat, but of course the guitarist Peter Grudzinski died a few years ago. But I don't know. I might consider going to see Riverside. But who would think I would get to see them and not get to see Pure Reason Revolution first? But yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I forget there was something else that I've been dealing with. Well, okay, yeah, my schedule. So, as you can see, if you can see out there, it is snowing. It's not really accumulating today because it's really not that cold here in the Twin Cities and St. Paul and everything. But oh yeah, entertainment-wise too, I forgot about that. But given that I'm not gonna be driving in traffic with a lot of snow as often as I need to, and I have the option, and I just finally got my hybrid. My setup at home to be basically the same as at work, which will help my work, the way I work at home. That's not related to this, but it's another reason I'm going to be home. The point being is I'll be working from home more often. I still want to go into work some. I'm not going to like literally never go in until the winter's over. But I probably will have more days during the week to make videos besides Mondays and Tuesdays now. So I don't know how many. It might be 3 days a week. I don't know. I have no idea. It's sort of hard to. I'd like to plan for this stuff, but my channel doesn't have enough people following it to really. People get upset. Like, where's the video of the? Where's your? I didn't do a video. So where was your Monday video, Kyle? But it is at least a nice change in a way. Yeah, probably come the springtime. My company gave us these liberties at this point. So if I don't need to use the gas up, I don't know. There's things I like about going into work because I feel like I'm more productive a little bit, and I feel like it feels more normal. I enjoy commuting to work sometimes, but I don't enjoy actually sitting in traffic and deal with backups and stuff like that. But so it's kind of weird because of COVID. Everyone went through that where now we get to work from home, and no one. It felt weird. Like it's like I felt depressed almost in a way of like, am I ever going to go back to work? But barely anyone's at my work right now. It's weird. So, and that may be the way it is. I don't know the companies to make a decision or whatever. But the point being is that it's kind of a, give and take. I don't know. There could be 5 days. I may be home 5 days a week if the weather's bad, or I'm not up for going in. It's really up to me. It's kind of a nice thing. I just have to plan. I got to get up that much earlier and everything. So, but that allows me potentially to, it allows me to actually listen to more music and make more videos potentially. So anyway, entertainment wise, that's right. So Dead to Me season 3, the final season is coming up on the 17th tomorrow, Thursday. Christina Applegate, unfortunately, was stricken with multiple sclerosis, a condition. Unfortunately, I know some people that have, including my grandfather, it took. But she's basically retired from acting, and I guess the reason why Dead to Me season 3 took so long was partly to do with her medical. And COVID affected it too, but it was not easy. I haven't read the article, but it's all the more reason to watch it, to just appreciate what she did. I just hope I guess she's going to be retired. I mean, it's probably she's retiring from acting. I just hope she can just live her life just as a normal person without, having this condition of hers. I guess she's also a cancer, like a breast cancer survivor, so it hasn't been easy. But so yeah, if you like Christina Applegate, or you remember, Dead to Me, it's coming up in a couple days. I can't remember, there was a movie. I mentioned a movie, but anyway, I'll have to do some reviews. Oh, I did watch the Weird Al movie. I forgot about that, which the Daniel Radcliffe. It's like a parody of a parody. I mean, I could do a review of it. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It was free to stream on Roku's site. You don't have to pay anything. You don't even sign up, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, it was not accurate, and it takes the accuracy or the sort of liberties that stuff like Bohemian Rhapsody took, and the Elton John movie and a few of the other biopics. I don't know, the Elvis movie. It takes those liberties, but it was sort of mocking those biopics, so that's why it wasn't accurate at all. And there's one part when he's claiming Eat It is like original music, and it came up before Beat It and all this stuff. There was a few Harry Potter references. Go figure. The cast was good, between Rainn Wilson as Dr. Demento and what's her name, who I've got mixed feelings about as Madonna, Evan Rachel Wood. Yeah, I mean, Daniel Radcliffe was pretty good. Weird Al, of course, himself shows up. I mean, it's some of it is on the nose, some of it is just a little far fetched. But I mean, I think it was more hit than miss. It's a little bit like Walk Hard. It's like a combination of Walk Hard and not Spinal Tap, but there's another music biopic I was thinking it totally basically was their version of. But it was good to see Daniel Radcliffe do something completely isolated from a lot of his other roles, like those romantic comedies he's done, and I mean, this is a comedy, but it's just kind of over the top comedy. So anyway, so have you seen Weird? It's called Weird, I guess. It's from the guy who did. Who's the creator of? Well, it's the guy from Funny or Die, and of course they didn't normally mention the fact that Aaron Paul, or there wasn't a lot of mention. Aaron Paul had played Weird Al in like a sketch for Funny or Die a number of years ago, which was good. And they had a few other people, and Weird Al himself showed up in that one as well, of course. But so if you've seen the Weird Al biopic, I hope people check out this series when I start making it soon. I may start making those videos that people do while they're browsing, like while they're on a website. It just might be easier from an editing standpoint. I just need to get the software on my new laptop and everything. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We'll see you next time.